eating gummy bears. Kind of. I guess they're not bears, but whatever.
Fruit snacks.
Fruit snacks. Indubitably. We talk about movies and television and video games
Music.
and sometimes shoes and any other matter of things.
Yeah, I got a shoe problem. Like-
It's a hell of a problem though because they look damn good.
Yeah.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Denard.
Hey,
How y'all doing?
how's it going?
So yeah, we're gonna give y'all our top 10
Top 10 most anticipated films of 2020.
2020.
And the funny thing is, this is a bit of a crapshoot because there are at least a handful of movies we don't even know exist
Okay.
that are going to be out in this year.
So that's the thing. If you go onto IMDb, there are 5,196 movies to be released this year. That's now, mind you, that is international.
Sure.
But again, the way that the movie market works now, we get a lot of international shit. So I mean, I didn't even realize like how many Indian movies, like Bollywood movies, are on Netflix until like last
Oh,
night.
no, for sure.
Like it
By the way, you know what you don't realize? At one of our local movie theaters, they play them like every week.
really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know. I found out because I was looking for Parasite one time,
Yeah.
and there's like one or two playing every week, I think.
The funny thing is though, I'm so surprised it's not its own like category on Netflix.
I am too.
Like, because I'm not talking about, oh, it might be 10 series and like, 20 movies. There were like 60 goddamn movies on there. And I'm just like, really?
Well, yeah, no, I noticed that the other day too, actually, because when I was looking, it was like, they give you like whatever the genre or whatever the list is, and it was like the third one.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was that prominent, I'm like, oh, this must be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to that degree on Netflix.
Because like I've been seeing some of the shows and stuff like that, but there were more Indian shows and movies than, not saying South Korea, because South Korea, I think they're about neck and neck on there. But
South Korea is coming on strong.
But French and German,
Mm-hmm.
they were hardly like, they're your, of course, like artsy movies.
Sure.
But there are only like a handful of those compared to everything else. I was like, damn.
You know
They're
what?
on the come up.
You know what that meant? No, for real. You know what that actually? I'm gonna watch some of them. I need to diversify.
You should, because they are very. So, I will say this about Bollywood like action movies.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed, and this is just my comparison, but if you enjoyed like the kind of like early 90s action movies where they were kind of like over the top and everything else, like
Yeah.
or even
I'm all about it. I love those.
or even like
Hammer films.
kind of like the Hammer films, or even like the or kind of like the old like Drunken Master movies and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like it's over the top and they're these like robotic heroes
Well-
and stuff like that.
Well, it's almost like there's almost like not literally, but almost like an over the top like kabuki-ish type acting.
Kinda, yeah.
Broad, big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I tell you they are some of the funniest and most entertaining movies I have ever seen. I can't remember any of the names,
I know, me neither.
but they are great. And there's one that I'm gonna actually link to the page.
Okay.
If I think it's still on Netflix, but it's like I think it's like their version of. It's one of like our superheroes, but
Oh, Iron
like
Man.
on his level.
There's an Iron Man one.
It's kind of like that,
Yeah.
And it was so weird when I saw
Okay.
it. Mind you, this is like the 5th movie in the series or something like that. So I have no idea how this all got started, but I couldn't stop it. I
Okay.
was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
I'm gonna watch that for sure. Because
But,
I do need to diversify, and yeah, that's part of my. I want to watch 365 movies this year. Currently at 41, which is a stupid high amount already.
I'm at 0.
We'll fix that. In fact, we'll fix that with 10, possibly 20, depending on how much overlap we have.
Oh, actually,
Movies here.
Yeah, actually,
'Cause I think our overlap's not going to be. I think there's a few at least. But,
yeah, I actually just knocked off 2 on mine for 2 other random movies that I just remember popped up this year. So yeah.
So I've got I got my 10.
Oh
One in not there's no chronology to it
no,
necessarily,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
no
got
order.
one. So do you have? Are we
The funny thing is,
agreed on this one?
that was my very first one too.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
mine. Okay, so the first one it comes out April 8th. It's No Time to Die.
James Bond.
It's the 25th installment in the James Bond franchise.
Supposedly the final Daniel Craig one.
I'm 99%. I will bet you money this is the last one.
I'm praying for his sake. I'm
know.
like, dude, don't say you're gonna do any more of these movies. Don't sign no more checks. Just
Yeah. Well, though, here's the thing, though. That, it became kind of a thing when he was doing the Spectre interviews. And they had just come off filming, and they filmed these fucking things for months. and he gets beat up. He tore his ACL early on,
Yeah.
and they kept filming, so he was exhausted. He was like, "Oh no, I'm done.
Well,
I hate this."
He's gotten hurt in every movie.
Yeah, he's not getting
Every movie. And not like, oh, I got a sprained ankle.
no
like,
shit
oh, I
stuff
jammed
like
my finger.
athlete injuries.
Yeah, like I tore my fucking ACL. I broke my fucking ankle. Like
I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah.
And he's gotten what he needs out of it, which is complete exposure
And
the
that
fact that he can make
money.
any movie. Yes.
He got
And
that
they
money.
say that he may have been paid up to $100 million to do this movie,
Oh,
which I don't doubt
um,
because they were in a bind and he had all the leverage.
yeah. Like, look, I'm gonna just tell you the truth. He is my favorite. He is my favorite James Bond. And mind you, Spectre, I fell asleep on it. I actually own it. I still haven't finished it.
Spectre was trying to serve two masters, and that was its own story that was piggybacking off of Skyfall, which is their most quote unquote, like realistic, darker one, while also being like, it's our 50th anniversary, so we have to do all this shit that references the
but
other
it was
movies.
I was going back to and that was the thing. Why that was the one thing I actually was excited about because I liked how Skyfall is my favorite James Bond movie, just because it is its own independent Bond, but at the same time with the callbacks to it, that's where it actually made that definitive line of James Bond is not just a person. James Bond is the code name. And like that's where I was like, okay, finally, we got that shit. We laid it to rest. We're good. We're gonna be done with it.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, I love that movie.
Yeah, I love Skyfall. Like everything about it.
And
Great.
Casino Royale, I really, really like.
The funny thing is, as boring as it is, I even like Quantum of Solace.
I need to rewatch it.
It's not good,
No,
not at all. Like I said, I like the kind of behind the scenes shit, but like I said, I'm excited. I love James Bond movies. I can't
do
help
too.
it. They're regardless if they're terrible. Like I hate most of the Pierce Brosnan movies, but god damn it, I'll watch them. Like when they're
Look.
on, they're gonna be fun.
Pierce Brosnan. There was only one, in my opinion, good Pierce Brosnan. That was GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
By
That was it.
and that's not even. Yes, the game is amazing, but just as a movie, it is endlessly rewatchable and fun
Yeah,
and great.
yeah. The other ones, the
Law
other
of
ones
diminishing
went-
returns, I think.
The other ones went a bit too just kind of crazy for me. But again, like I said, they're James Bond movies. They're going to be entertaining. And then this one, he's going to die. Like
I think so.
I mean,
I have no basis for that outside of just my thought. I think so.
the thing is,
I hope so.
Yeah, like it's sad to say, but we already know James Bond's not going to have a happy ending. Like he's not meant to.
Yeah.
Like he's given himself for his country and the service. So
Look,
remember, he got married in the first one. His wife got killed literally as soon as they left for the honeymoon. Like got in the car, drove a mile, pop, bitch gone.
And even by the way, in Daniel Craig's James Bond series, so to speak, it's not meant to end well.
No, like
It's brutal.
mind you, he kind of like alludes to this in every movie that regardless, he's not expecting this to go well for him.
Yeah.
Like he knows we're secret agents, we're spies, we're not meant to have a happy life. Like this is what you get. So if you make it to M's age where you're old, hey, you did a good job. But if you die at fucking 35, 40,
Yeah, his
Hey.
perspective's like, I mean, that'd be nice,
yeah.
but I don't expect it.
But also, I like this with his character. You see how, regardless whether if he was James Bond or if he was just whatever,
Yeah,
he was already in that self-destructive path regardless. So it's like he actually found something to give him some more purpose to where, oh, I might die at 40, but I'm going to do this, and this beforehand instead of just I'm going to wreak havoc and do whatever the fuck I want to do.
he is a self-destructive person who is a spy.
Yes.
And not a spy who is a self-destructive spy.
Exactly.
He is.
Yeah, he's self-destructive regardless of whatever he's going to be
This
doing.
is, in its own way, best case scenario
Yes,
for him.
but they put exactly this job gave him enough focus.
Yeah.
It gave him something that's like, okay, well, if you're going to die young regardless, and like I said, young relatively, whatever you consider young, but 40's young.
Sure.
But if you die at 40, you die saving the world at 40 compared to you die in a barroom brawl.
He stood for something.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna fucking die, stand for something. So like I said,
But the thing is, though, it's the barroom brawl is 100% in play too.
yeah,
He
so-
could die at any second, regardless of whether he has 007 as his code name or not.
Yeah. So, like I said, at least this way it's going to go out. So, I'm excited because I really want to see I want to see the end of his story. Like, I want to see a definitive end to a Bond.
I do too.
Not like how they've been doing it where, oh, there's just a new person and it might be the same guy, it might not be. Like, no, I want to see them just like, no, this Bond gave himself to the name, to
Queen,
the
and Queen and Country.
yeah, and we move on to the next one, which they already alluded to was going to be, I can't remember her name now.
What the new movie?
Yeah.
Next one after that?
Well, the one is going to be replacing him in the movie.
Oh, well, I mean, the actress is Lashana Lynch.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm gonna tell you this. That's gonna be temporary. That's gonna be early on in the movie. I do not think that's it. He's gonna be retired, and she's gonna have been 07 in his stead.
I'm gonna tell you what I think is going to happen.
That's what I think.
What I think is going to happen is, I think they're going to do what they were supposed to do in Casino Royale, where if you read the story, they wrote a W on the back of his hand for whatever the group was in the story. I can't remember. It's a different name than Spectre.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But I think they're going to essentially do that because what that story was essentially every other spy would know James Bond was a spy, just out and about when they see him. I think they're going to do something to get him kicked out of MI6. So she's going to have to take over his spot.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
But I think that he's going to want to get out just so he can finish whatever it is. And
Well,
then he's going to die.
This is gonna be the thing where he's retired, but he gets pulled out for one last job type thing. That is what I envision. A couple of things about it. One, Danny Boyle was originally hired to kind of co-write the script, but also direct it. They offered it to him at first, and he couldn't do it because it conflicted with his passion project Yesterday, which, if you've not seen that, is a batshit crazy movie. Then he got back on after the conflict was kind of relinquished. Then they had quote-unquote creative differences, so now it's taken over by Cary Joji Fukunaga, who directed the entire first season of True Detective, did the entire season of Maniac on Netflix, and is a hell of a filmmaker in his own right with Sin Nombre and others. So it's interesting to see him do a big studio movie like this because this will be his first time doing that. Reported budget of $250 million, so they are going for it like they always do, putting a lot behind it. I'm honestly pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, well, it's James Bond. They're going to put money about it. So, yeah.
And we got, Rami Malek is the quote-unquote eco-terrorist in this, allegedly. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, April 8th. Not that far away, really.
No. Yeah, it's right around the corner. Let's see.
All right, we agree on that one. What's your second, then?
So my second one is actually The Lovebirds, with starring Issa Rae and Camille Nanjiani.
Camille Nanjiani.
Camille Nanjiani.
That trailer is great.
It's
just came out last week. The trailer.
And my thing is, I've been following Issa Rae since she did Adventures of an Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, and there hadn't been anything she's put out that I didn't care for, that I didn't like. And Nanjiani is one of the funniest dudes out there. Like, even the stuff that he's not like really that big in, he still kind of like steals the show when he's there.
You know what the old adage of acting is reacting. He has some of the best reactions in comedy, films specifically. I think he's very funny, and this is going to be a big year for him.
Yeah, he's going to be in another movie that I got on my list. So.
That's not on my list, but I figured it would be on yours. So
yeah, but like I said, Lovebirds. So.
I do want to see that. I really want to see that. That comes out April, I think. April, March. It's April, March. I just know that it comes out. They had just released the trailer, and that was the first time I heard about it since they announced production of it. And it was coming out within the next, 3 or 4 months. So,
okay.
March or April, I think.
All right. What's your next one?
Again, mine are in no specific order, but I went with a different one because I wanted to switch it up. I got some indie stuff and my normal bullshit, but October 9th, Without Remorse.
I don't think I know about that one.
This is... Let me chew first. I'm sorry. Okay. October 9th, Without Remorse. It is... The premise of which is John Clark, a U.S. Navy SEAL, goes on the path of vengeance to solve his wife's murder, only to find himself inside of a larger conspiracy It's a Tom Clancy adaptation. It's in the Jack Ryan universe. John Clark previously was played by Willem Dafoe in Clear and Present Danger, and by Liev Schreiber in Sum of All Fears.
Okay.
And it stars Michael B. Jordan in the role this time, third time portrayed on film. It also has Jamie Bell and Jodie Turner-Smith. Jodie Turner-Smith, who just starred as Queen of Queen and Slim.
So I haven't seen that yet.
It's good. I saw it. It's good. Anyway, this is directed by Stefano Sollima, who, as of 2018, directed Sicario: Day of the Soldado, which I liked. And this was rewritten and now has a sole writing credit by Taylor Sheridan, who previously wrote the first Sicario and wrote Hell or High Water, and created the show Yellowstone. It's on the Paramount Network. And Wind River he wrote, which he also directed. So it's got interesting pedigree, and I don't know. It could be a big kind of bigger budget spy film.
Okay.
So I'm really curious about it. They're still filming it right now, so who the fuck knows? It could be moved out of 2020, but I like Michael B. Jordan a lot, and I find it intriguing.
Yeah, I enjoy his movies. I haven't heard anything about that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not into Tom, but that's the thing. Tom Clancy bores the fuck out of me.
Now, part of this choice was informed by the fact that recently I both rewatched Hunt for Red October and Patriot Games, and Hunt for Red October holds up very well, and I still love it.
But it's so boring.
I don't think so at all. I completely disagree.
They're all boring to me.
But I like submarine movies though.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just
Look, I would choose Crimson Tide over Hunt for Red October. Don't get me wrong, but Hunt for Red October holds up very well, and I really, really like it.
actually that's the funny thing. Yeah, if you would have said Crimson Tide, I would like, yeah, I like Crimson Tide. But
I like both of them.
yeah, for some reason, it's just something with Tom Clancy movies. I'm just like, God.
Yeah.
I think they're, you know what it is? Tom Clancy is the Stephen King of spy books for me.
Yeah.
He's too wordy.
Oh, I can see that.
Like I said, that's my problem with all Stephen King books is he goes into such detail that I lose interest because I don't need to know all the intricate inlays in the fucking lamp next to the cursed item. Like it
That's
doesn't
fair.
fucking matter. Just give me the cursed item and then let's move on to the story. Tom Clancy's kind of the same way, where it's Jack Reacher is walking down the street in his 1992 bomber
Okay.
jacket from is like
You're
okay,
drowning
whatever.
in detail.
Yeah, I'm like, look, dude, let's get to the fucking story. I don't
So
give a shit.
to put it in Chappelle skit terms, wrap it up.
Yes, wrap that shit up, B. But like I said, I'll give it a shot though.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Again, we don't even have a trailer, and it's still filming. So I kind of wish I would have put this near the end, but I thought I would switch it up a little bit. Go with that.
I say, I don't give a fuck about y'all. I'm giving y'all mine just however I wrote them down. So,
What's your third?
so my third one is a comic book movie. This is one I said before is kind of a little bit lower budget, but Vin Diesel stars in Bloodshot, and
There's a trailer out for that. I've not seen
Yeah.
it. Okay.
it's the trailer reminds me of the same quality as pretty much any of his sci-fi movies.
I would say the Last Witch movie. That
Yeah, like The Last Witch Hunter, or
Yeah.
even what was that one he did, like Babylon AD or something like
Goddamn.
that.
Yeah,
I never
that-
saw that
no,
one, but I just
I
remember
w-
the trailer. The trailer made it look like it was going to be at least action packed. I don't know how the movie
I
did.
watched it and I don't remember anything about it,
Oh.
but I know I've seen it. But I do remember in hindsight it was like they just wanted to get your ass in that seat one time, so they sold everything with the trailer.
Well, like this, like I say, if you see the trailer, it's still pretty decent. But
Okay.
the main storyline is just about there's this former soldier that he was killed and somehow brought back from the by the military under a new project called Project Rising Sun, and essentially they infected him with nanites, so he can never die.
So he heals quickly.
Yeah, essentially he's like Wolverine without claws, and
I gotta tell you, this poster is terrible. So
Yeah.
he does. It is, his career is interesting because when he's in his non-Fast and Furious movies, he's just. I think it seems to embrace his nerd side.
no, that's what it is.
Right?
He does all the sci-fi movies because that's what he likes. He wants to do those movies. Like those are fun for him. These are what he enjoys.
Okay.
He does Fast and Furious to make the money. Not saying he doesn't enjoy it, but that makes him the money so he can do these kind of movies. Because so Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, he was actually
Yeah.
supposed to play Bloodshot. you can actually look up the initial images, and I would have enjoyed it a lot better with him. But I enjoyed the Bloodshot storyline. Like the comic itself is really good, and that's the reason why I'm looking forward to this. Just because typically, whenever the comic book movies come out, usually you see a surge of people getting more interest in the story, and
so you like the visibility of it.
yeah, and the Wildstorm universe is a really the comic book universe is more centered in our own reality. Like if there's going to be powers, they explain it more into how this could actually happen, and just
Gotcha.
it was a space rock. It was magic. Like there is no magic. It's all scientific shit. So it's like it's something that people
That's
might
fun.
really enjoy.
Yeah.
But this will kind of get them back into it where, hey, I like this character. Let me go see some more about it. But I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's essentially if you liked any of the Marvel stuff, look at this kind of like on a lower budget scale. It'll be like that kind of the action-packed Marvel stuff. This is what it's going to be.
Okay.
So
March 13th, 2020 is the release date for that.
yeah.
Okay.
So what's your next one?
That's a fun choice. I got one that you're going to hate, and that's a Ridley Scott movie. I apologize. But I'm intrigued by it. It's called The Last Duel.
I'll just say this.
Yeah.
Fuck that motherfucker on the south side.
Yeah,
but
it's fair enough. Earned it. I earned it. Last Duel comes out December 25th at the moment, and there's a pedigree to it. It's little backstory on it is that it's written by Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Nicole Holofcener. I always mispronounce that. This has been kind of fast-tracked since it was first announced kind of later last year. And it's one of the first big green lights from Disney after having acquired Fox. So it stars Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer is from Killing Eve. So put her on the map. She's won awards for it. She's crazy talented. This is the premise. Set in 14th century France, the movie is an epic tale of betrayal and justice, told from three distinct point of views. Two knights, Damon and Driver, whose bond is tested by treachery, and a young woman, played by Comer, forced to navigate the brutal and oppressive culture of an era in order to survive. This is just I like knight stuff. Give me duels. I want to see it.
I'm not so big into the medieval stuff.
Yeah, I'm.
Right.
It's can be hit or miss for me, but duel stuff, honor, and kind of like having maybe a little like gladiator vibe. I'm in.
See, if it was set in like well, not medieval, but if it was set in like Roman times, I'd probably be a little bit more into it. But
That's probably fair. Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I don't know, something about medieval movies I just get bored with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. Except for Army of Darkness. Love that motherfucker.
Hey, Knight's Tale. I love that movie. It's fun.
That's the one with Heath Ledger in it.
Yeah. I quite like that movie.
I fall asleep on it. It's not that it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just I get about halfway in and then for some reason I fall asleep and I always wake up in like the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. I have certain movies like that too that just get me. Anyway, Last Duel, December 25th, looks to be for potential Oscar consideration. So.
All right. Well, my next movie is going to be another comic book movie. This one is just on my movie just because a couple of people are going to be in it, but The Eternals.
Yeah, I wanted to put that too. I'm like genuinely out of everything in recent memory of like Marvel stuff, Marvel comic adaptation. This is the one I'm most interested in. I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah, like and the reasons I like this just because, like I said, there's going to be certain people that are going to be in it. Like, what's his name? Dude that plays Paperboy on.
Michael Tyree Henry.
Yeah, like the fact that he's in it, I'm fucking ecstatic. Like, I don't know why, but as soon as I saw his name in the fucking credits, I was like, oh, I'm hyped. I gotta go see it. But since it's gonna be introducing a lot more of the like Marvel cosmology and things like that with the Celestials and how everything was created and stuff before the humans actually like really kind of popped in, or at least that's what I'm hoping that it does.
I think that's what they're doing. As far as I can tell, that seems to be the case, and that's why I'm intrigued because I love the idea of that quite a bit. I find that really intriguing.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where
I was wrong, by the way. It's Brian Tyree Henry. I always mess his name up. So,
but it's one of those things where how they were kind of describing the phases. I think this is where they're going now. Is they're still going to be Earth-based stuff, but now they can also go and do what if we're in several different galaxies and a whole nother universe and stuff like that.
Well, as they've kind of euphemistically described the cosmic phase.
Yeah, because like that's what the Guardians kind of started out with, but even then, they're not really like out there in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Okay.
Like they're still usually around to like if when there's major events in the comic book series, they're around. They're not just like kind of off in deep space and you never see them. But this is one of those things where like the Eternals, you don't see them that often. Like when they pop up, it's a really big deal, and you only see them maybe like once every 6 to 10 years in a comic book somewhere.
Okay.
So it's like when it pops up, some shit's really going down or something's really important is about to happen. So like now that they can actually get this going, it's like, well, maybe we might get, of course they already bought them, well, with the acquisition, but like a Fantastic Four where they actually go out into space. We might see Galactus, the Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
all this other kind of stuff where they can actually have their own like franchises and movies and then do the stuff where people wanted, like Planet Hulk and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm also extremely intrigued because it's directed by Chloe Zhao, and she directed The Rider from 2016 or 17, and that movie is like for real one of the more powerful and beautiful films of the last like 10 years. It affected me a lot. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. So the fact that she was chosen is fascinating. Like even for them, choosing kind of more outside the box choices with smaller independent filmmakers, this one is fascinating to me, even by that standard. Also, rounding out the cast: Richard Madden, Gemma Chan, Kumail Nanjiani, Brian Tyree Henry, Salma Hayek, Kit Harington, Barry Keogh, Angelina Jolie, amongst others.
Yeah. So.
And that comes out November 6th, 2020.
Yes, that's wild.
Well, but I mean, they have a lot of. There are going to be a lot of effects they have to do, and I think they may still be filming currently. Pretty sure.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen anything about post production.
They've been filming in London, and actually, now that I think about it, a couple days ago, I saw photos of Kit Harington like on set, like walking to a point. So they're still filming.
All right. So what's your next one?
You might have this one: Godzilla versus Kong.
I did not actually.
Okay, November 20th is when it comes out. It's directed by Andrew Weingard. It's his 11th feature following his 2017 adaptation of Death Note on Netflix, which came to massively divisive criticism or a word.
Oh, there was no divisive. It was just bad.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. I was
Yeah.
trying to be okay. I was being overly nice.
Yeah.
But he previously directed, amongst others, You're Next and The Guest. The Guest of which I really quite like. It's kind of very John Carpenter-y. I'm a big fan of it. So a couple things about this before I mention like cast and stuff is that Godzilla King of Monsters, which is the one that brings us up to the point where now we're going to have the showdown of Kong versus Godzilla, it underperformed after the two previous films performed better than expectations. And it was a $170 million movie, but just budget-wise, that made not even 400 worldwide. So that's cutting it real close for the perception of a franchise. So they need to not fuck this one up. And so much so that it was scheduled to be out far earlier this year, but then was delayed 8 months following poor test screenings. So they've been doing reshoots. So hopefully we don't feel those reshoots when watching the movie, and it's not like disjointed and bad. But I'm hopeful. I want it to be good, of course.
I'll be honest with you. I don't. If this was just from the guy that did King Kong Skull Island,
Oh, I'd be a whole other. I'd be so hopeful.
I would be ready for it.
I'd be stoked.
But I do not like the American Godzilla. Like, I just hate to say it, but it doesn't hit the same. Like, the Toho Godzilla franchise, and I can't remember which one picked it up after that, but they all have, like, Godzilla means something. And he is the star of the show. Even when there's, like, the lighthearted Godzilla or even, like, the Shin Godzilla that takes it, like, that's the newer version. He's still, like, the focal point where you actually see Godzilla transforming, you see him evolving, you see him fighting, you see something of him. It's not about the people so much.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think it feels there's a cultural emptiness to it because it's not valued here like it truly is there.
Yeah, like you can tell even when, like I said, when us as Americans, when we see the cartoony Godzilla where he's, dancing and everything like that, we see it as like corny and everything else.
Yeah.
But even in those movies, when you actually watch them, like,
There's
yeah, they might be like kind of corny, but there was still a message in the story. And you got Godzilla, but you also got the human element. When you see the American franchise, all you get is just the human element, which there's not enough there because it's about Godzilla.
I think okay. I think
Like, I didn't need to know about Bryan Cranston and his wife. I didn't need to know
Yeah.
about, you know,
Yeah.
like all this other, because Godzilla was only in it maybe 15 minutes actual screen time. It's not a Godzilla movie.
it was the Jaws approach.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, it's not Godzilla. Godzilla has Godzilla in the movie. Even if he's not there for the first 30 minutes, the last hour to 45 of it, he's fucking shit up or he's saving the day. Like, that's how Godzilla movies work. When it's just, oh, we're going to focus on this internal struggle of the
Yeah.
people, and then, oh, Godzilla saves the day. It's just like, well, I wasn't here for that. Like, I want to see Godzilla fight some fucking monsters, and then that's really about it. Like, yeah, if you give me some human element to it, but it doesn't really tie into Godzilla. Like,
You know what?
everything tied together with this.
The more you say all this, and the more I think about it, it does feel like the U.S. approach of this is intellectual property we can adapt
Yes.
versus a reverie
Yes.
that is there
That's-
in the Japanese culture.
Yeah. Like,
That makes a lot of sense.
like I said, like, regardless of which version you go and look back at, I just recommend going to watch like I said, the original Japanese ones, because they're all just either they're fun and they embrace the fun. They still give you whatever it is, but they embrace it. Or they're ultra serious, and it might not be the best, but they go all the way into it. And they're proud of whatever they put out. Like, it doesn't matter whether it sold millions or just sold 20,000. Like, regardless, oh, we're going to keep this shit going as long as we can. And we're going to put as much production that we can into it. We're going to put as much stories we can into it. But again, it's not just focusing on the people. Because again, it's about Godzilla and what he represents, along with how he's connected to the people.
It's
When
like it's their James Bond. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like a thing that they're invested in that's an ongoing series.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, Godzilla represents the whole thing about the fear of the nuclear menace.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he was tied to in the original franchise. But then eventually got to be environmental, where he was coming back attacking people because we were destroying the environment. He was protecting the planet, and he was attacking us.
was
But then when
The
aliens-
personification of nature's response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like I said, everything actually had something to it. Where the American ones are just empty and hollow. It's just, I don't give a fuck about Millie Bobby Brown.
I know,
And her
yeah, I
character.
know.
Like, I don't give a shit. Like,
That's
give me
very
fucking
fair.
Mothra and let her do her thing with the two little twins, and I'm happy. Like,
But to your point earlier, Kong Skull Island fucking kicks ass.
and now, see, that was the thing with that one. They embraced it. They were just like John C. Riley. They let him be him. He was weird. He was kooky, and I loved every second of it. When Kong came out, Kong
Yeah.
fucked shit up.
But here, you know what it is? To your point, though, the reason, outside of just Jordan Vogt Roberts, is a no shit, legit, amazing filmmaker. Like, no joke. But the difference is, as opposed to these other hired hands, is he made the King Kong movie he's always wanted to make. There was palpable love and respect for that character and
Yes.
the culture.
Yes. Now, mind you, again, King Kong does come from a racist standpoint.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not something, and this is the one thing I will say to his credit, it's not something he actually has to adapt, because it was something American. It wasn't something that came
Sure.
from another country that you had to try to figure out, you know, cultural norms and things and how it like ties to them. But at the same time, like you said, he made the movie he wanted to make, and
Yes.
also he understood when you saw King Kong, the main point of the whole movie was King Kong. It was, we're going to go find this amazing monster, this giant beast.
This walking god.
Exactly. And then them trying to tame it,
Yeah.
and you see what happens. And it's like, again, the story revolves around Kong. Mind you, the people have a good, like I said, the people here all have a role to play. But at the end of the day, what is it about? Kong.
Yeah, and you
So-
know what? And something can be said for being a fan first and a filmmaker second. That goes a long way.
Yeah. Like,
I love that movie. And by the way, you know he's making Metal Gear Solid next.
I'm not
You-
looking forward to it, Chief.
You should.
I'm not.
You should. He is good friends with Kojima.
That's the reason why. No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your next? Were we on 5, I think?
funny thing is, we both had the same one for 5.
All right, baby.
Dune.
Dune.
Yeah.
December 18th. By the way, I'm listening to the audiobook.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I didn't even think about just getting audiobooks and regular.
Dude, they're good.
Yeah, I never even think about getting audiobooks
Well,
and listen to those when I'm on the road.
Here's my thing. I'm a dumbass, and I'm like, I need to do other things too. So I listen when I work out, as opposed to just like the idea of like I'd rather. This just sounds like such a moron thing, but I'd rather at night relaxing, sit down, and watch a movie than read a book.
No, I mean,
So
I'd rather play
audiobooks,
video games.
audiobooks help me with that.
Yeah.
It kind of bridges that gap. So I'm listening to that right now.
But,
I am so excited for this movie,
Yeah, if you
and I feel good about it. I feel like good things are gonna happen.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Dune or know what Dune is, essentially, it's a giant, vast story about a war for spice. And there's a lot of themes in it. Really,
Yeah.
honestly, the whole thing is really a theme about redemption. Essentially owning your shit and becoming a better person.
Yeah.
But it is so good. The original is still one of my, like, seriously, top 5 movies of all time. I'll watch it
Oh,
all
the
day. Like,
the David Lynch 1984 adaptation.
yes. I
Hey,
watched
it's on Amazon Prime too, by the way.
I watched it the first time when I was 7 years old. Loved it then. Literally, every time it comes on the Sci-Fi Channel, I will watch it from beginning to end, nonstop. Don't give a fuck. I'm not getting up. Like, love
Nice.
it. So, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited for it, but I love the original so much. I'm scared that I'm gonna hate this one.
There's more that has to be undone for you than others because of that love for that movie. Which there are plenty of people that love it.
And that's the thing. It's not that I have high expectations.
Yeah.
It's just that the original was so good to me.
Okay, and that's
That
fair.
this one is just like, it was practical effects. It was a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not into this whole like change everything to CG. I still love the practical effects.
By the
shots.
way, Denis Villeneuve, the director,
Oh.
feels the same way.
Okay, then
He's
that,
more traditional effects.
then that makes me hopeful.
Yeah.
But like, it was just something about that movie that like I just fell in love with, and like
it was
a lot of the modern,
like it was the right time, right place, right age, right everything.
and like a lot of the modern takes on sci-fi movies, they just don't like I said earlier. Like I said with the Godzilla movies, it just don't hit the same.
Yeah.
Like, they did a remake to the Andromeda Strain, like maybe like 10 or 15 years ago. I think it was A&E.
Okay.
I saw the Andromeda Strain when I was 7. Again, like this.
Yeah.
Freaked me the fuck out. I was paranoid for 2-3 years. Watched it, and mind you, this original one still freaks me out.
Yeah.
Watched the remake, and I was like, okay,
Okay.
all right. It wasn't that it was bad. It was just like, it's just not the same. Like, I don't get that eerie feeling. Like, I just don't get that feeling, and that's what I'm afraid with this Dune.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get it, but I'm hoping that if this does well, they might start adapting to other movies.
Well, a couple things about that. We have some backstory. So these are things that it has going for it, in my opinion. One, as said before, directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's his 10th film. Last film of which was 2017's Blade Runner 2049, a movie that I genuinely love, and that is a good test run for Dune in terms of serving multiple masters, adapting, making it your own film, and he got the tone right. And that's very difficult. That is so difficult to do. It's exponentially easier to fuck that up than it is to do it well, and I think he did a hell of a job. This is the first of a planned 2-film series, and they're already working on writing the second film. Filming concluded July 2019, with the film coming out, like I said before, December 18th. Previously made into a feature film that we talked about by David Lynch, 1984. First of all, hell of a cast. Like, stacked cast. You got Timothée Chalamet as the main character, previously played by, what's-his-face from Twin Peaks, who was in all the David Lynch's stuff, who's Kyle MacLachlan, that's it. Then you got Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Zendaya, David Dastmalchian, Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem, and Charlotte Rampling. Hell of a cast.
So I want to tell you now, you're going to hate this, but I'm not that big of a fan of Timothée Chalamet.
That's fine.
I do not care for him in this role.
I'm a big fan. And I hope he surprises you. I'm a big fan.
I'm hoping so too, but yeah.
I'm hopeful. One thing that I found interesting that I read in an article, and I'd not previously seen this, on January 17th, which was nigh upon 8 days ago. 8 days ago, a Canadian fellow by the name of Brian F.H. Clement, who apparently is like a sci-fi writer who works in the film industry in some capacity in Canada. He apparently has been working on Dune in some capacity, and he tweeted out things that have now been deleted because Warner Brothers presumably got their hands on it, which, they don't want people talking. And by Warner Brothers, I'm wrong. That's Legendary Pictures. Never mind, it's Warner Brothers. Okay, I'm right. Anyway, he had a series of them, and I have screenshots. But these are the two main things from footage. What are you about to say?
I'm about to say, I do not want to know.
No, it's not details. It's
Okay.
It's
All
not details. It says, as a follow-up regarding my opinion on New Dune based only on the footage I saw, since people are curious, I think this will blow people away the way Lord of the Rings did 20 years ago, the way Star Wars did 40 years ago. It's not Jodorowsky or Lynch, but maybe Villeneuve has filmed the unfilmable.
I understand why they made him. I understand why he deleted that. Don't do that to your fucking self.
I know.
Like,
I agree.
Like, because I'm gonna just tell you now, reading that automatically already put me in warning flag mode of, fuck, no, I'm probably gonna hate it. Because as soon as again, this is the same thing that happened with Joker. Remember?
The hype?
Yeah. We're going to go back to, we're going to make this film just like, again, we're going to hype it up just like, it's going to be just as big as Star Wars. It's going to be just as big as this. Joker was it's not a comic book movie. This is real cinema. This is going to draw you into the seats. Like, it's that kind of, and again, I got a bootleg of Joker. I watched 45 minutes of it. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I hated it, so I never finished it. But again, there's a lot of movies where we're going to be the next Lord of the Rings. Don't do that.
No, it was okay.
And like I said, you're building yourself up to do too much. And Dune was a single movie until it got picked up by Sci-Fi to do a couple of adaptations of a couple of
Children
books.
of Dune and other things.
And they were good too, but they didn't get that kind of hype. A lot of people never saw them. And this is one of those things where Dune is a beloved cult franchise. Sure. It's not something that everyone loves. So as soon as you're, that already put me in.
Well,
it looks bad.
Let me walk this back.
There's no walking it back.
No, I know. And first of all, I apologize. I thought this would go over okay.
No.
That's a miscalculation on my part. Fair play. To walk it back one way, I don't know who this guy is. He wrote it. He deleted it. I don't know if his opinion have any validity with regard to any form of accuracy. And perhaps he was a nerd who was a Dune fan who got caught up in the moment. But this was out there, and I found it intriguing.
See, like I said, the stuff that you find intriguing is the stuff that throws up nothing but red flags.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like I said, because I'm going to just tell you now, social media is the worst thing for
anything?
Yeah, because like I said, as soon as you got somebody tweeting out stuff that they don't need to be saying, as soon as you start doing movie leaks and trailer leaks and everything else, like, again, this is why I don't do a lot of this stuff now, because you ruin the experience. Like, this is why people complain so much that, oh, well, we don't get anything original. Well, when you know the whole fucking plot of the movie well before it came out because somebody at the studio gave you the script and gave you the movie on bootleg 5 months before they even put in the CGI, and you automatically shit on it. It's like, well, yeah, you knew about the whole fucking thing before it was going to come out. There is no excitement anymore. So
it's harder to find the magic. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you got idiots like this putting whatever bullshit on Twitter before the movie came out, before anybody really knows anything about it.
Truly.
Like I said, because you already saw my hype literally just died.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, I'm just like, fuck, I don't even care now. Like, I mean, I'm going to see it. Well, it went from I was going to see this opening day to I'm going to wait probably a month and see what happens.
I really miscalculated this. I didn't expect that to that degree.
Again,
I know.
This is how much I love Dune.
I know, fair.
So, like I said, if you're a fan and you hear this, like I said, that's kind of some scary shit because they said that about the Star Wars franchise. You see what the fuck happened with that?
Yeah.
We're gonna bring it. We're gonna make these just like the originals. You're gonna love them.
See, my interpretation of what he said, I am not taking it that way at all. Truly, I'm just taking it as, in terms of catching the collective consciousness of people, the excitement for a thing that, to your point, it's beloved because it's cult. Like the mainstream, it doesn't know much about Dune. They know of it, maybe, but I don't think I'm not taking it to the prism the same way you are. But I also understand that it's a close thing, and you're protective of it. So fair play.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why there was so long before there was a live action adaptation of The Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
And there's a reason why there's probably not going to be another one for a long time.
Yeah.
Because he caught lightning in a bottle.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, just like, okay, the way that he said Star Wars wasn't like, it wasn't like movies now where it encapsulated pop culture or something like that. Star Wars is just a movie that he decided to put out. And it just happened to catch fire. It was just something that everyone just was like, fuck, we like it. It was something new. It was something different.
It caught fire because he wasn't trying to.
Yeah. This isn't that.
I know. I don't think they're doing.
Well, no. I'm just saying this is going to be a adaptation that's also essentially going to be a remake. So it's like you can't catch that same lightning in the bottle because it's not there.
Well, I'll tell you, Villeneuve, this is his dream project. He is a lifelong Dune fan. He's always wanted to adapt Dune, and he, because of every movie he's made, his 10 movies, he has power. He has control.
Well,
and he is, and I'm going to tell you, just so far, he has wielded it as a filmmaker very responsibly, and is a good storyteller on a big scale.
I'll tell you this: I'm going in hesitantly.
Fair enough.
I'm still looking forward to it, but now,
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like,
You know what? I'm curious about that first teaser just to see what we're dealing with. It's gonna be big. That movie's gonna be gigantic.
I'm not gonna see. I'm not watching the first teaser. I'm just wait till the first trailer comes out, and that's the only thing I'm gonna watch.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah, like I said, I don't need them to ruin everything with like multiple trailers.
I know. Well, I know it's great. I don't watch very many trailers.
Yeah,
anymore.
like I said,
if I'm in, I don't need to see it.
Typically, I watch the first trailer, and then usually the last one that comes out, like usually like the couple of weeks before the movie is. That's usually about it. So
I don't know. I don't really read reviews anymore, and I don't watch many trailers, especially when it's like a teaser for a teaser, like that they do now, and this is the final trailer, and it's been like the fourth or fifth one. No, I don't do that either. Yeah. What's your next one?
So my next one, I had to bump one off the list because this is one I just remembered. Nobody's gonna know this one, but My Hero Academia: Two Heroes.
Okay.
So I am a big fan of the My Hero Academia series. Read the manga when it's dressed up as one of the characters for Halloween this year. Like, legit love that show. Me and the wife, actually, when she gets home tonight, we're going to finish it because they're going on this is the mid-season hiatus.
Okay.
So, yeah, like, real hyped up about it. But this, I believe, is going to be they only made one film before this. Is going to be probably the last one. We don't know much story-wise line. No, just, it's, all I know essentially is just going to be about the main two heroes, Izuku Midori and Bakugo.
Okay.
And for the most part, that's all that's really known about it. But if you've seen anything from the show, if you've seen anything from the movie before this, you'll be really hyped up about it. But essentially looks at heroes in take Western heroes, but with anime sensibilities.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
You might have, there's a character that's like Superman. He doesn't have all the powers of Superman, but most of them. But he has a limit on how long he can use them. Like, everybody I think there's 85% of the world has a superpower, or they call them quirks. Not all of them are like world ending. Some of them are like bullshit where you can squirt finger out.
I've heard of this now.
Yeah,
now
or you can stick to a wall.
Yeah.
But there's some that have like, really amazing powers, but everything has a caveat to it. So you might have super strength, but you can only use it for so long. Or there's one character that he can nullify your powers by looking at you, but that's only as long as he doesn't blink.
Everybody's kept in check to some degree.
Yeah, so it's not just everybody's OP. So, like I said, it's one of those things where when you watch it, you see his growth as a character.
Okay.
And as I say, it's really enjoyable. It's one of the main shonens that's been coming out now. So if you're into anime at all, just go watch the trailer. You'll love it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's really intriguing. Okay, I got a big one. Tenet. July 17th, Christopher Nolan movie.
Mm.
It's his 11th film since he debuted in 1998 with the movie Following. This is a big movie. To give you context, like Inception, which was gigantic, cost $160 million.
Mm.
This is reported to cost at least $205 million. Some people have said so high as 225. It's a lot, and we don't know a lot. I mean, we have a teaser trailer, which is incredibly intriguing, but just the premise, we have one sentence: a secret agent is tasked with preventing World War III through time travel, and it stars John David Washington. Huge fan of him. He's great. Oh, Denzel's boy. I'm excited.
No, I was just laughing because I was just like, is he gonna go back in that time and prevent Trump from becoming president?
Yeah,
But,
I know.
yeah.
I know. That would be nice.
But,
John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, longtime collaborator of Nolan's, Michael Caine, and Kenneth Branagh, amongst others. One cool thing, by the way, it goes back to Black Panther. Ludwig Göransson, who did the score for Black Panther, young guy, also did the score for The Mandalorian. Has been on the come up for a hot minute now. He took over the scoring duties from the normal collaborator, whose name is eluding me and probably annoying people as they're listening. I forget his name. Anyway, he took it over. That's a big deal for him. That's his biggest project to date.
Okay. All right. Glad to see somebody on the come up making it.
So what?
Oh, no, I thought you were about to.
Sorry. Tenet. That's it.
Boom. All right.
I got a text. I got distracted.
So yeah, my next movie is The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Starring Ryan Reynolds, Selma Hayek, and Samuel L. Jackson.
That would have never been on my list.
Ha! I knew it.
Ever. Ever.
I loved The Hitman's Bodyguard. It is one of the fun movies from 2 years ago. I don't remember if it came out last year or the year before.
I think year before.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was 2018.
No, you know what? It might have been a February. I think it was year before, though. I'll like that.
But either way, I have no idea what the movie's about. I'm guessing somebody's trying to kill Selma Hayek and they're trying to protect her the whole time. But either way, first one was hilarious. I can't wait till this one comes out.
I'll watch it. I just haven't watched it.
No. I said, it's fun for me.
2017.
Okay,
No,
damn.
if it's good, it's good.
Yeah, it's wow.
I've gotten better at like strategically turning my brain off to be able to like, enjoy a thing versus being super critical of it.
Yeah, there's some things.
So
that,
I'm gonna and
yeah, there's some movies that you're not supposed to.
oh, I know.
Yeah,
No,
you
I
just-
agree.
You shut it off and you just have fun.
It's just
with it.
and one's ability to do so, but I can do it, and I will enjoy this one.
So what's your next one?
My next one is that's a good question. Okay, we're dipping our toes into the more weird and independently financed movies. Although I guess it's not technically indie, it's a Netflix movie by the name of I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
I think I heard about this one. But.
This one it's directed and adapted for the screen by Charlie Kaufman from an Ian Reid novel of the same name. Charlie Kaufman, whose previous directorial efforts included Schenectady, New York, and Anomalisa. He also wrote the screenplays for, amongst other things, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Being John Malkovich, Adaptation. I believe there was another one, too, that had Reese Ifans in it. Anyway, this dude's a goddamn genius.
So this is going to be one of those movies that I probably won't see for like 7 years. Because
Probably. That's fair.
I like Being John Malkovich, but the other movies, I just never get
Look,
into.
Schenectady, New York is an unbelievable movie that bums me out big time anytime I watch it. So it really puts me in a weird headspace. So by the way, I'm not, look, I'm fucking watching Michael Bay movies before I'm watching a Charlie Kaufman movie. And that has nothing to do with artistic preference. It's just that I have to exist and be happy in this world, and his movies don't always allow me that.
Yeah, like
But I'm still stoked for this movie.
yeah, I'll be probably like 7, 8 years,
The-
and then I'll finally watch it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The cast, okay, well, first, that's the premise. A man takes his girlfriend to meet with his parents, but they find themselves going on a terrifying detour as it becomes a twisted mix of palpable tension, psychological frailty, and sheer terror. Stars Jesse Plemons, who's one of my favorite actors, Jesse Buckley, who is also one of my favorite actors, Sally Jesse Raphael, Jesse the Brain Ventura. How many more Jessies can I figure out? Jesse Williams, previously of Grey's Anatomy, but now is a social justice warrior. Jesse Spano.
Seriously, solid Jesse Raphael really in this?
No.
Oh, god damn it! Like, no, I was really excited. I was like, I was gonna watch this because she was.
No.
In it. All right.
No, I had two Jessies in a row, and I was trying to come up with just Jessies. Jesse Plemons, Jesse Buckley, Tony Collette,
I'm so
David
sad now.
Thewlis, and Hadley Robinson and Abby Quinn. Expected release date, because you know how Netflix goes, they tell you about a month in advance. Some people are prognosticating that it could come as soon as the first quarter of this year. But either way, it's expected for this year. It's done filming. So I am ready to go.
All right. Well,
What you got?
my next movie is going to be Bob's Burgers, the movie.
Are you aware of where I'm at with the show? I've not watched it.
No, I didn't know you ever watched it.
I've never watched it.
You,
I know. I need no.
I'm surprised you haven't watched it.
I've been told this by literally probably a dozen people.
Like,
I know. I need
it's
to.
not. And it's not the fact that it's not like. So like the way that you like anti-comedy and stuff like that, like the Tim and Eric Awesome show and stuff. Well, not Tim and Eric Awesome show, but the. That,
no.
But
Dr. Steve Brule, others.
this is one of those shows where it's a real life family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really real life, but it's one of those things where they're never going to be number one, but you're fine with that. Like the whole show is about them. Like Bob is never going to be like ultra successful, and you know this.
Okay.
But the ins and out of his life, and like he's still happy, but he has these weird ass fucking kids that he knows they're weird. He loves them, but they're weird as shit. And he's just like, why do we have you? And like his wife is annoying as fuck, and she does terrible things, like not in a bad way, but like she does stupid stuff that embarrasses him or like causes him to have like panic attacks and tension. And it's like one of those just weird ass shows where like these are strange it's a strange enigmatic family that are kind of losers at the end of the day, but you're still rooting for them and like they're still happy regardless of like whatever happens. So like it's one of those just kind of feel good shows where it's stupid but it's fun.
Here's the thing: it is built for me.
Yeah, like
I don't
understand why you haven't seen it yet.
No, I just haven't seen it. Honestly, it is not any kind of indictment on the show. I just need to watch it.
And I think they're on like season 11 now, maybe.
It's been running for a hot minute, yeah.
Because that's the thing. I'm at least a season behind.
Okay.
Because like I took a break from Hulu for a while, so like I'm behind on a lot of stuff. But I'll tell you now, the best character on the whole fucking show is Louise, outside of Bob. Like,
is that the wife?
No, Louise is
daughter?
the daughter with the bunny ears.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She's the one in all the memes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, but there's a reason why that show has like so many fucking memes and stuff going around because it's literally like that funny. Even the episodes that aren't really all that you think aren't that funny, like they just kind of grow on you after a while.
Okay. No, I have to watch it. No, I'll make it.
And strangely,
I'll watch it this year.
And strangely, I don't know why, but there's always a musical episode, typically for the season finale.
I'm cool with that.
I just now kind of realize it. Yeah, like almost every season.
It's like their Treehouse of Horrors, you know, like they have a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
like every year, whenever it's about to end,
yeah,
they usually have like a 1 or 2 part episode that's a musical.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm all about it. I just need to watch it.
I have no idea what the movie's about, but I don't really care. It's Bob's Burgers.
It's going to be the same.
That's what I'm kind of.
The same difference.
I'm kind of hoping for it now. I didn't enjoy the Simpsons movie that much though, so I'm kind of hoping it's not going like that route.
Well, there's a vast difference, by the way, between making a movie after like 25 seasons and doing it even after 11.
Yeah.
You know.
Although my only thing is just that they've done episodes where it's been like 2 or 3 parts.
Sure.
But it's a lot different from writing a 22-minute episode compared to making this story go on for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's all same story.
Although I like the SpongeBob movies I've seen too. You know, like it can work.
How many SpongeBob movies are there?
2 or 3. There's another one coming out this year.
I was just about to say, it didn't make my list, but there is one coming out.
I like SpongeBob a lot. I don't watch the show, but the first movie is really fucking funny.
I actually saw the first movie on my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it actually came out on my birthday that year.
They get shot down to the sea by David Hasselhoff's pecs.
Yes, like that is still the
That's
funniest
amazing.
Shit to me.
And then you see his feet kicking as they're riding him by. That's amazing.
The Goofy Goober song, like I still love that fucking song. But
I love that movie. I think it's really funny.
Speaking of SpongeBob, I'm wearing the Kyrie Lowe Sandy Cheeks. Man,
those are nice. I think he's a goddamn head case, but I like his shoes.
I don't watch enough basketball to know anything about Kyrie at this point. But
He
he does have some nice ass shoes.
he
Though.
is a cancer in the locker room. Anyway, my movie,
Mm.
September 25th,
Uh,
Last Night in Soho.
I've read about this one.
I am all in. Here's the thing. I am all in until further notice for any Edgar Wright movie. Doesn't matter. Because I have either very, very, very much liked, if not loved, every single one of his movies he's done.
Mm.
He is so talented. And he is, and this is an annoying phrase, but it's true, he speaks the language of cinema. Like, truly. He gets how everything works. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of film. He knows his shit. This is his first movie he's made since 2017's deceptively extremely successful Baby Driver. That movie made $300 to $400 million worldwide on an original idea. So basically, Edgar Wright was like, he's got a lot of chips and he cashed them in instead of making something bigger and more commercial, which I was expecting, honestly, to kind of go and up your budget to make a bigger concept. Instead, he's doing Last Night in Soho, which, by the way, he said during press for Baby Driver that he's going to be now going forward working with more of a sense of urgency because he had so long in between films that he's going to make movies with more frequency now, which I'm excited about because I love his stuff. There isn't a long line necessarily, but it's said to be inspired by British horror movies like Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now and Polanski's Repulsion. Wright's also mentioned that there's a use of time travel in the movie. It wrapped August 30th, so it's been in post for a while now.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that there's a girl that goes into, I believe, a nightclub, and somehow she's transported back into 1960.
Yeah.
And apparently every action that she starts taking, everything seems fine, but then eventually reality starts to either
Ripple and
unravel
time. Okay.
or time starts to
Yeah.
unravel.
I'm all
And,
about it.
Yeah. So the premise sounds interesting, but
I by the way, the big thing though is like again, all we have is like a poster. Don't have anything else. This is just a. I completely trust him. He knows what he's doing, and so I'm really excited about it. It stars Thomas and Mackenzie, who is a major up and coming actor, really talented. She was in Jojo Rabbit. Anya Taylor-Joy again was in Split, the movie Thoroughbreds, amongst others. She's on the come up. Matt Smith, our doctor from Doctor Who before the current one, Terrence Stamp, etc. Again, September 25th. I'm stoked. I'm all about it.
all right. Let's see. So my next one was another one that a lot of y'all are not gonna know anything about, but you need to go back and watch a little bit of it. But it's another anime movie, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie, The Infinity Train.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about this one is Kimetsu no Yaiba only has one season so far. Literally one of the most compelling animes there are. Like,
Where's it available?
uh,
Is it?
actually, it's available on Hulu, Funimation, and Verve or Crunchyroll. But
Okay.
it's out there. Like, I believe they have all the episodes up on Hulu for the first season.
I'd be curious to watch this.
But set in I believe Edo, Japan period. But the main character, his name is Tanjiro, but he leaves to go to essentially provide for his family by selling charcoal and other things out to the village, and comes back home and finds his family murdered, except for his younger sister. Turns out that a demon came through and slaughtered his whole family. His sister somehow got turned into a demon, and it's the story of him essentially trying to find a way to turn her back into a human and get revenge for his family. But the characters that you meet along the way, and actually him himself, because while yes, they are demons, and like it's kind of one of those shows where you see the good and the bad and everything, where not everybody's 100% good, not everybody's 100% evil, one of those kind of things. While he should have every reason to hate all demons, he still shows them mercy. He still believes that they can be different because his sister doesn't show the same traits that everyone else does.
So it's a believing in redemption on some level, some form of it.
Not even redemption, just
Yeah.
that not just because you are something doesn't mean
Okay.
that essentially you're not the stereotype. Just because most demons are evil doesn't mean that you are. But uh, the movie actually encompasses the whole second arc of the story. So instead of reading like 100 and some chapters, even 40 chapters, you get to just watch a hour and 40-minute movie.
Cool.
Yeah, and like I said, if you haven't seen the show, actually, I'll show you one of the clips, literally just a clip of it.
No shit. Okay.
But you'll watch that, and then you'll just watch the animation of it, and that's my thing. I like things the way that you say, like certain movies are well made and they're shot well and things like that. This is one of those shows where it's animated very well.
Okay.
Like it's one of those things where they put it in 60 frames per second in certain, scenes and things like that, and it's amazing to see. So this is going to be another one of those things where when you watch it, it's like, wow.
That's another thing that have become over the last handful of years like more appreciative of, like seeing a movie, and you're just like, they know exactly what they're doing.
I'll tell you this: if you really want to see a really good movie that is all hand-drawn animation, and when I tell you, like, it is one of the most amazing hand-drawn animated movies. It's called Sword of the Stranger.
Okay.
It's actually on Netflix.
Okay.
But the last fight scene, it's one of those things where when you look at it, it looks like it's something they had to do, something with a computer somehow.
Yeah.
No, completely hand-drawn, and it is amazing to watch.
Hell yeah, I'll watch that for sure. That's
So,
a
yeah.
great call. Okay, I want to watch that.
What's your next one?
I got 2 left, obviously. We're at like 106, so I want to get it going a little bit because I don't want to overstay our welcome. This is a huge one for me as a massive Fincher head. Quite possibly my favorite director. The name of the movie is Mank, M-A-N-K. It's a Netflix movie. It's a movie he's been trying to get made for years. His father actually wrote the screenplay. His now deceased father. And it is about, it's a biographical film about screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz and his battle with Orson Welles over writing credit for Citizen Kane.
Okay.
And the whole rumor, they say is, this is going to get into it presumably, is that, they task the wonderkind Orson Welles with like stars and produces, wrote it, directed it, everything. And that it's more that Mankiewicz wrote it. And
Okay.
so that's kind of a narrative that's taken on its own life, in time. So this is going to walk that back. It's in black and white, which is another reason why people probably going to Netflix, just because it's not seen as quote-unquote commercial for all of these elements of it. Gary Oldman is going to play Herman Mankiewicz. Amanda Seyfried, Lily Collins, Tuppence Middleton, Lois Howard, Charles Dance, and others make up the cast. It's Fincher. I'm all in. I love every movie he's ever made.
Okay.
I'm in. And right now, this is going to be probably, I would think, more fourth quarter of this year. They're filming it still right now, but I don't think they have a lot left. And it's Fincher. I'm in. That's it.
Okay.
Full stop.
Well.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, my last one is Jordan Peele's remake of Candyman.
Hell yeah. I was wondering if you're going to put that. Okay.
Yeah. If you've never seen Candyman 1 or 2, you need to go back and watch it.
And Tony Todd, is that his name? Right?
Yes, Tony Todd. Pretty much the black scary voice that you hear in Final Destination and pretty much every other like B budget movie, or the Mortician. That's
what it reminds me of with the commanding voice and like B movie stuff? It reminds me of like the Black Clancy Brown. Booming voice, physicality. And he's like not in the mainstream as much.
Yeah, it's always weird that he never got, and I don't know whether it's by his choosing or he just, or he just never got there, but he never got as like big as I thought he should have been, because Tony Todd is phenomenal.
Because I remember seeing him in The Rock, and I'm like, fuck yeah, that dude, he's great. I like him.
But Candyman, the original one, was essentially a story about how, I guess you could say, folklore brings things to life. And it was about the story of a news reporter that comes into, was it Chicago?
I believe so, yeah. Played by Virginia Madsen.
Yeah, that comes into Chicago that hears rumors about this story of the Candyman, who is this kind of like the Bloody Mary kind of figure in Chicago, where you say his name 3 times and he pops into a mirror and he kills you.
That movie scared the fuck out of me, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really, really creepy movie. And I believe it was a short story by Clive Barker.
Oh, that tracks.
think.
That would make a lot of
I
sense.
can't remember because it's only a short story. It might be like a novella or something like that.
I'll look
But
that up.
yeah, essentially he was a free artist that fell in love with a white woman, and mind you, this is back in I believe 1920s, 1930s. Either way, he was freed, and well, he was a free man, and they came out and tied him to a log, cut off his hand, and poured honey on him and let bees sting him to death. And that's where he got the name Candyman from a little girl that gave that name to him when she licked honey off of his body, which is disgusting and perpetuates that evilness. But anyway,
Based on The Forbidden by Clive Barker, you were right.
okay, yeah, but the original story was really good, and it was really it was scary, but it was scary in a kind of a creepy way, where not so much as like you don't know what's going to happen, but just the eeriness of you don't know whether or not he's actually real or not. You don't know how this is really going to play through.
I remember there being like a palpable like sense of foreboding about it.
Yeah,
It was really, and part of it just it's part of the heavy lifting is I was just a kid. I mean, I was 9 when it came out, but it genuinely scared the shit out of me.
yeah, and I'm not sure if they're going to just essentially remake the original film, but the ending of the original.
By the way, direct sequel
oh, it's okay.
to the 1992.
Okay, then that's great. Well, then I'll go ahead and let everybody know what happens. In the end, Candyman is essentially killed, but the reporter dies also, and then her spirit essentially becomes a new version of Candyman. She has her own, monster name or whatever, but it kind of shows how all this plays out, and I'm looking forward to it because I did not know this was a sequel. I thought this was just going to be
I didn't realize that now just since I read it.
because this original sequel was Candyman Farewell to the I think it's Farewell to the Flesh, but it was not. It wasn't as good as the first one. It was still pretty good, but
Well,
it
I think
gave
the
a little
first
bit
one.
more
I think the
depth.
first one was made just with we're putting everything we ever wanted to put in this, on the screen, and then it was more successful than they thought, and they made a half-hearted sequel.
Well, this was in the early '90s. Remember, this is that part where like Dark Man was a thing, where and don't get me wrong, I love Dark Man, but
I did
none
too.
of them really kind of fit together. Like they kind of do.
You had Darkman, you had Rocketeer, the Shadow. You had later on
Well, those things though, none of those actually got sequels. I said, which, although the Rocketeer, I believe, is supposed to be getting a remake.
Darkman had sequels, but I think they were VOD.
No, that's what I'm saying is Darkman had sequels, but none of them were actually connected.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it was
okay.
just-
Gotcha.
So I'm saying like Candyman, this one since it's just going to bypass a sequel is like okay, well this is fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, they didn't really have that many of those back then. I was like okay, well, I'm looking forward to it.
I almost put that, so I was really close. That's a great call.
So what's your last one?
And by the way, that comes out June 12th. Last one, there's no release date yet, like a few of the other ones I've mentioned. It's called After Yang. It's directed by visual essayist turned director Kogonada, and he has made 2 other films. This is his 3rd film, but his 2nd film, which is part of the reason I'm like super hyped up for this, is the 2017 movie Columbus, which not a ton of people have seen. I think it's still on Hulu actually, but it's fantastic. It is so well shot, so well constructed. It stars John Chu and Haley Lou Richardson. Haley Lou Richardson, of which, by the way, she energy emanates off of her on screen. She has so much presence and is so talented. Again, directed by Kokonada. He also wrote it. I still need to watch his visual essays. They are apparently just so professional and legit. And he is a student of film. He writes occasionally, or still writes for Sight and Sound magazine. Also, he's been commissioned by Criterion Collection to do documentaries or essays for supplemental things on their DVDs. So he's no shit. And he had 26 or 27 videos online, all of which I need to watch and will be. But this is based on a book by Alexander Weinstein called Saying Goodbye to Yang. Premise of which is that we know is pretty simple. It's in a world where robotic children are purchased as live-in babysitters, a father and daughter attempt to save the life of their robotic family member, Yang, Yang, who has become unresponsive. So I am all about it. It's got Colin Farrell, Jodie Turner-Smith, previously made a mention on the movie Without Remorse, and Haley Lou Richardson. It's expected this year.
So the premise, I don't know why, but for some reason it kind of sounds like AI.
I can see that. Yeah.
Although I don't remember them. I don't think he died in AI. They had to get rebooted. I think he got out. I don't remember. Yeah, it was such a long
The
time
aliens
ago.
come back at the end and take him.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. This is by A24, and A24 has pretty impeccable taste as far as I'm concerned. It's become its own thing on the internet. It's been co-opted, but they have legit great stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I care for most of the stuff from A24 though,
Oh, I love all their shit.
because I did not. Because they're the ones that did Midsommar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it might just be that dude. Because
Ari Aster.
Yeah, because he's the same one that did Hereditary, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's just him.
I think it might have just been him then.
Because they did Uncut Gems, The Lighthouse. They've done, and those are great.
I still haven't seen Uncut Gems.
It's my favorite movie of 2019.
Lighthouse was weird.
I loved it. I thought it was just the reason I loved it, by the way, is because in this climate, I mean, in this world of the way movies are and market share being more and more Disney and everything, that movie has 2 billion reasons why it shouldn't exist. But the fact that it does makes me just so happy, and I loved it.
See, I don't see it so much as it shouldn't exist, just that.
I mean, the odds are against it existing. I mean,
And see, for me, I think it had more chance doing it now than any point. Like, I just tell you now, I don't think any of these movies would have made it back in like the 90s. Like,
Probably
not.
That's probably fair.
Like,
yeah.
just off the strength of. Now you got the superstars that essentially they're able to. You have the celebrities that are actually able to do the movies they want just because they've done. I hate to put it like this, but they've done enough entertaining movies that they can go do the stuff they want to go do.
Their name being attached to it means something to financiers.
Like, again, like we said with Daniel Craig, like he does a lot of indie stuff that people didn't really care for. Like, what was that one that me and you both wanted to see? Him and Adam Driver, Lucky Logan.
Lucky Logan, yeah.
Yeah, like nobody saw that movie, but he
No.
wanted to do it just cause.
Not a lot in the theater, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so like I said, I think it's gonna be one of those. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But,
fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our mutual top 10s for the year. We got some questions on Twitter. We'll be quick about it. We got one from VL, great dude, at Vulgar Lasagna. He asked, how do you feel about Velcro?
I mean, if NASA invested in it, then yeah.
I'm
it's
pro
the shit.
Velcro.
Yeah.
Also, my mom just had rotator cuff surgery 2 weeks ago, and so Velcro is the thing keeping her arm in place.
All right.
So I'm pro Velcro.
I said NASA puts their seal and approval on it. You know, everybody gotta love it. It's NASA.
Great question. Thank you, VL. Big fan. Sorry, I'm chewing. Bobby Babylon of the podcast, The Bobby Horror Picture Show, asks, do you think Tarantino should do a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel that just focuses on Brandy the dog? Yeah, absolutely. No question. Brandy the dog fucking kicks ass. I know, I'm sure you've not seen it because you're of your Bruce Lee stance. And
Yeah, you know
fair
how,
play to you.
Yeah, you know how I roll.
And
But
fair enough.
But I will say, just on this subject,
I'd watch it.
not that I don't think it's not that I don't think it would do well, but for Tarantino, I don't think he should for his own reputation.
No.
Just because
Well, if we're taking it seriously, A, it will never happen. But B, this is what his last movie would be, the next one. So, of course, it's not going to happen.
well, that's the thing. It's not that even it wouldn't even be the fact that if this was his last movie.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he's never done anything that is a spin-off. Everything might be things might be in the same universe, but there's never going to be a spin-off. I would hate for him to do a spin-off on something and then it's like I said, I'm not a fan of all Tarantino movies. I like a couple of his movies, but
I'm a fan of them all, just to varying degrees.
yeah, like I said, there's movies of his that I'm just like, no, it's
Yeah.
terrible. But like I said, he makes some good movies. This, I think, a side project or something like that, I don't think it would do well.
I'd be intrigued, by the way, to read a side, like a comic book or a side story. Like,
I think he would be too. I think he would be doing too much trying to keep it all in one, trying to keep it all
Yeah.
in house, where he's trying to make like the callbacks to this, and this, where it's not going to hold up as well compared
Probably.
to just his original work.
they allege through their ruminations that his idea for the final story of what he would do would be a spiritual sequel to Reservoir Dogs, which, from a bookending standpoint, makes a lot of sense to wrap up his filmography. So I think that's interesting.
See, the thing is though, didn't which one came out first? Was it Reservoir Dogs or was it
Reservoir Dogs. That was his first.
I wouldn't want him if he was going to do something that was a spiritual sequel.
Yeah.
He essentially needs to just do what he's kind of been doing, where the briefcase is really what it's about. Because remember, the briefcase, because the briefcase has been in damn near, what, 5 of the movies, I think?
Probably, yeah.
Because it was in Reservoir Dogs, and it was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And it was something else that it was in. But
was it Jackie Brown?
I think so.
Yeah.
But, like, either way, keep that going.
I know what you mean. A continuity element within his own world that he's built.
But the way the Reservoir Dogs was, where you had a group of guys, not necessarily, you know, another Mr. Brown, Mr. Pink, and all that other shit.
Oh, no, I think it would have vibes of it, but it's not. It's going to be a very different movie because he's a very different filmmaker now.
It would be better if it was like a heist movie about the case.
No, I can see that.
But, like, that's where I would want it, where it's essentially it's about the case, and we don't find out what's in the case, but something happens where the case is, we're done with it.
Sure.
Like, that's how I would like for him to end.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
I'm in for whatever he does, especially with it being what he purports to be his last, and I believe him, last movie. Great question. Thank you, Bobby. You're a great dude. Big fan. Genuinely. Got a question from Mr. Roddy Berry, who is actually part of the podcast American Arts and Culture Review, which is one of my favorite podcasts. It is so good and so funny. He asks, how many times is it Dune? ? And we have a definitive answer for that. This list, it's Dune twice. 2 Dunes. You had a Dune, I had a Dune. 2 Dunes.
All right.
That's the answer. Point Click Bugged at Point Click Dead on Twitter has a couple questions. 1, did you get those shoes? 2, if not, why? 3, will this be the year of the Biodome sequel where they go to space? Okay, we have 3 parts here. 1, I did not buy the shoes. 2, I did not buy the shoes because as of 45 minutes ago, I didn't even know what type of shoes they were. I just had a photo. And I'll show Denard the shoes.
Oh, okay. See, I thought that was about me. I was like, I don't know what shoes you're referencing, sir, but
that's fair.
Maybe I did.
These are my and it's actually a probable at this point for you. For me, it's these shoes.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, I fucking love those shoes.
Did those actually drop?
Those shoes kick ass. Joe LaPuma, who works for Complex Magazine. You know, he's a big sneakerhead. You know that the sneaker shopping?
Yeah.
That's him.
Okay.
He hosts that. By the way, you might be interested in this. They have a podcast now where they talk about shoes.
Yes. Actually.
It's good.
Yeah, I hadn't listened to any
I
of it,
listened to a
but
few
I follow it
episodes.
now.
It's good. Anyway, those are the shoes. I didn't buy them because, money helps. And so my thought is, once I acquire the money, I will spend the money. So, A plus B equals shoes.
All right.
So we'll get there. So that's that answer. Do I think there'll be a Biodome movie? I don't know. Let's see how desperate Stephen Baldwin gets. Right now he's riding high off of the refractory period of his daughter marrying Justin Bieber, so who the fuck knows? I'll say yes. Sure.
I would love a Biodome sequel.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Genuinely love it.
I don't know why people like shit on it so bad, but Biodome was hilarious.
Stephen Baldwin went to Alec Baldwin, said he was going to do this movie, thinking about it. Alec Baldwin said, if you do this movie, it's going to ruin your career. He did the movie. And guess what? He was pretty right, too. I don't care. I like that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of true. Although, I will say, I didn't really see him getting that far to begin with. No. Like, I'm just saying, I'm just being honest, his chops are not, like, the best.
I know. I agree.
but
I'm hopeful. I'd watch it. I'll tell you this much.
The fact that we're getting a Bill and Ted final movie,
which I didn't put on my list because I need a trailer. I need something.
I do not.
I'm gonna watch it. I don't get me wrong, but in terms of how I feel about it,
the only reason I put it on my list just because you know how goddamn long it's been since I've seen Bill and Ted. Since probably I was like 9.
I'll tell you what, Bogus Journey is delightfully batshit crazy. I love it.
I remember more about the video game that was hilariously terrible than I do the movies. I just remember I loved the movies as a kid.
Oh, I loved them.
I can't remember shit about it. I just remember they met the Grim Reaper. They were in a telephone booth, and it went through time and history. And I was like, oh, this is great.
I've loved those. I genuinely love those.
But I actually did see, I guess, the poster. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm in.
Oh, dude, I'm all in. I'm watching it.
That, and I'm just telling you now, just off the strength of Keanu Reeves alone.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm all in. Same with you.
Yeah.
One last question from Chelsea G. By the way, her writing is on Medium. She's really talented. At Bad at Kissing, she asked, "Where does sawdust come from?"
It comes from Jesus.
Yeah.
When you throw him on the cross and then you put him in a wood chipper.
See, I just like trees begat logs, logs begat dust. So dust is tree dandruff.
Actually, dust is human dandruff. Yeah, it's
Sawdust.
Sawdust.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's not necessary. But you gotta say differently. Sawdust and dust. Dust is dust.
Dust is us.
Yes, dust is dust.
God, I hate. I don't feel bad about my reading the deleted tweets of some Canadian guy comparing it in weirdly like bombastic terms. Anyway, sawdust is, I don't know. It's wood jizz.
Ew.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Sawdust is wood jizz.
Yeah. Before we head out, if you, I do recommend if you don't do anything else this week, go download Mac Miller's Circles. This is
Dude, I want to listen to that.
Yeah, I've already listened to it. It's a lot different than his other albums, but it's a lot more introspective.
Okay.
My favorite song on there is Blue World.
Okay.
But seriously, I listened to it, and by the time I got to the end of it, I'm not gonna lie, I cried a little bit.
I've heard that the bummer of it is that it showed where he was going, and it's a very exciting place.
Well, it showed where he was going, but also showed what he was going through.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
if you listen to Blue World, you can actually hear like a lot of stuff where he was kind of worried about, and just kind of where his headspace was.
Okay. Dude, I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna listen.
It's sad and it's happy at the same time.
Okay.
Like it's kind of one of those albums, but again, I miss Mac.
I know. I'm gonna listen to it for sure. I will say there's a movie that came out. It's not available for rental. I think it's more like the whole it's out on iTunes to buy, and then in a couple weeks it'll be out to rent. Waves is called from 2019. It's incredible.
I think I've heard of Waves.
It's so good. Highly recommend it. That's my recommendation.
All
Anyway,
right,
at Inquisitor Dick on Twitter. You are, what are you?
fuck, I can always forget. At Black Market Jesus.
Yeah, there we go.
Although it will be a name change probably
Oh yeah.
at the end of the day.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah, I gotta take a couple pictures, do some shit. But
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for listening.
Word.
Goodbye.
Bye, folks.